Both the prosecution and defense are trying to weed out anyone who could weaken their cases. Earlier, the juror panel sat through a general voir dire where attorneys asked them preliminary questions. Take a listen.
Is there anyone here who has had a bad experience with law enforcement such that it sticks out in your mind? Number 19 and number 35. Anyone else have a bad experience with law enforcement such that it sticks out in your mind? No other cards. Is there anyone here who's had a good experience with law enforcement such that it sticks out in your mind? No cards.
Ahmaud Arbery, who is black, was shot dead after being confronted by 3 white men during a run on February 23rd of last year. Greg and Travis McMichael, along with their neighbor, William Roddie Bryan, said they were justified in confronting Arbery, and the eventual shooting was actually self-defense. Let's go live to Brunswick, where Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter is outside the courthouse. Chanley, so great to have you on with us this afternoon. Tell us, if you would, what is the latest in Brunswick?
Well, Ashley, the pace of jury selection going much slower than anticipated. In fact, according to pool reporter notes, Judge Walmsley is expressing his frustration at the slow pace, encouraging the attorneys on both sides to speed things along. In fact, he dismissed the afternoon panel, the group of 20 that was supposed to be inside the courtroom for general voir dire. He sent them home earlier, saying to return on Wednesday because they still had to go through individual questioning of the jurors from earlier today. So last we heard from the pool reporters inside the courtroom, there were 5 jurors questioned individually so far. About 4 were struck for cause and about 11 more to go. So we shall see. But earlier we did hear from a potential juror. She was juror number 44, and she was a white woman. She's a baker, and these are some of the things that she told the attorneys during questioning. She said, "When I got the jury summons, my husband was adamantly against the defendants." She also said, "I don't know what happened. The only people who know what happened were there." And when the defense asked her about her stance on race, she said, "We can't go around our daily lives with our eyes closed and not see something that's been ingrained in us since we were." Okay, that's some quotes from the poll reporter. Now, she was someone that also said she believed she could be fair and impartial, and also, though, feared possible or potential ramifications of serving as a juror and then, of course, going back into the community after rendering a verdict. So that gives us an idea of kind of what's being exchanged outside the presence of our cameras and the audio that we can't show to our viewers. And we're still trying to confirm exactly what happened to juror number 44, if she was dismissed for cause or if she's one of those that was passed to until the next phase of this process. The goal here, Ashley, is for these attorneys to pre-qualify around 64 jurors of the panel so they can start exercising their peremptory strikes and reach that jury of 12.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the fact that yesterday, Judge Timothy Walmsley also got a little frustrated, from what I understand from the pool notes, that it was taking the attorneys so long, and he felt like they were asking some questions that might have been a little repetitive. And so I think that yesterday, reading the notes, that one of the attorneys suggested, all right, can we regroup and start again in the morning? We can all kind of talk, figure out where to start. So it's interesting that they've regrouped. They started again this morning, and then you share with us, Chanley, that yet again today, he may be frustrated with how slowly this is moving. I will tell you this, and I think you would agree with me as a trial attorney being in court, you know, as attorneys, we're ready to stay there as late as the judge tells us because we serve at the pleasure of the judge as the trial attorney. As a judge, that's what I expected from the individuals because you want to get this thing done. A lot of them are in from out of town. This is a major trial. He does not want to waste time. But we have to remember the jurors don't know this. So all of these potential jurors have to wait a lot of different times until they actually get questioned, and then they may have to wait again.
Exactly. It is a long process, and they aren't familiar with what it takes, especially if the schedule they anticipated has been changed or delayed, because a lot of them are putting off work and family and other plans to be here to do their civic duty to report for this jury selection process. And we also have to keep in mind that there are 3 defendants in this case, so 3 different sets of defense attorneys asking questions for each of their defendants, and that's taking longer than what we would normally see in a case for jury selection. But they want to make sure it's done correctly, because jury selection, as you know, Ashley, is one of the most important parts of any trial, especially a trial like this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So some surprising news this morning. As I understand, the prosecutor actually moved to strike an entire panel, the first panel of 20 that were receiving general questions this morning. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, that was a big moment earlier today. The prosecutor, Linda Denikowski, she is very adamant to object any chance she can get at what the defense is doing, especially the line of questioning. And there was a moment earlier in court where the defense attorney Sheffield, representing Travis McMichael, was introducing all 3 of the defendants inside the larger overflow room for General voir dire, and he walks over to Travis McMichael and puts his arm on Travis's shoulder, introduces him, and says that he's a former member of Coast Guard. Well, that garnered a pretty heated objection from the prosecutor, saying it was inappropriate. But let's watch that moment and how it unfolded.
Let me begin with, now that we've been sitting here for a little bit of time, Travis McMichael, formerly with Coast Guard, formerly with Medicine Marine. As you sit here now and listen to this, did any of you recognize Travis? Told the jurors that witnesses were with the GBI, that witnesses were with the police department. They gave a reference point for those people where they might be known from. I too gave a reference point. Some people might begin to know somebody from those experiences, and those were experiences here. It's not anything that's not going to come out in opening statement. It's not anything that's not going to be known during the trial. And it's certainly not good character, it's employment and where they might know him from. So I see nothing wrong with identifying for these potential jurors a location and a profession that they might say, oh, yes, I do know him from that. And the state did that.
All right. In the context of jury selection, the court denies the motion. In the context of jury selection, zeroing in the potential jurors on the prior employment of the defendant is a legitimate reason to bring those matters up, just because it may touch upon the character of the defendant. I find that these circumstances it would not rise to the level of a dismissal of the panel. I do caution counsel, though, let's not get into the facts of the case or start arguing the case for the character of the parties to the panels as they come through. I think so far so good, but let's make sure that we don't go beyond where we are.